Welcome back. Today in the cheapo spotlight, the all-new ELECALL EMAX3 for your pleasure. This is a tiny little non-auto ranging multimeter that looks kind of cool. Let's take a closer look. The ELECALL shipped via AliExpress for a whopping $11 Canadian. Yeah, this is cheap. So this cute tiny little meter shipped in this nondescript white box, and yeah, we do have the logo EMAX3 digital multimeter. In the box itself, we get our instructions, and it's nothing more than a paper pullout, as we've seen 100 times before, but at the end of the day, it's in English, and it's basically a spec sheet. Of course, what would a multimeter be without test probes? And this ships with a couple of these guys. Now these have no cat rating. These are definitely generic as generic can be. Shrouds, not very long, tiny shroud. Yeah, so in the hand though, I have to say they feel okay. Not the sharpest or pointiest, but it's a small meter, small probes, should get the job done. Fit and finish wise, this multimeter is really nicely done. Not your typical looking meter. No, it's got that oval, interesting, dare I call it a cell phone look, but it works. Definitely unique, solid feeling, really, really nice. And yeah, you saw that. It is a magnet on the back. Now, there is no tilt stand, unfortunately. No, they haven't given us a damn tilt stand, but we do have a magnet. Still like a tilt stand. Alrighty, so if we compare this size-wise, you can tell definitely smaller than the Habitat standard DT321 clone, and a Rich Meters 102 Pro. You can tell probably be closest to the Rich Meters. In fact, I'd say pretty well spot on for the actual height, thickness, perhaps a tad thicker. Both weigh the same. Yeah, so that's what you're looking at in terms of a size. There you go. And if we turn it on for the first time, we get a nice little audible beep letting us know that we are in business, and there is the LCD display. Not too shabby, actually. Some glare here because of the studio lighting, but that being said, very easy to read, crisp. I do like the size of the font. Yeah, looking good. Now this does have a backlight as well. One push and away you go. Backlight, unfortunately, will only stay on for about 30 or so seconds, but at least it has a backlight. We're going to start things off, of course, with our precision DC voltage test. Have a new voltage reference out. We're going to give it a try, and we're going to go through a few ranges, 2, 5, 7.5, and 10 volts, respectively. Starting off with 2.50 volts. Survey says 2.50 volts. Next up is 5 volts. And bada boom, bada bing, bada bang. 5 volts even, looking good. Next up, we want to see 7.5 volts and spot on. Loving it. It is looking good. Alrighty, finally want to look at 10 volts. 10 volts. Beauty. So, hey, accuracy wise, this is a really sweet meter. Good stuff. Finally, in the millivolt department, we want to see 250 millivolts, and we are oh so close, 249. Oh, 250 for a second there. Oh, it's back and forth. It is really close. Starting off with that range selector switch at the midnighter off position, followed by volts DC from 200 millivolts to 600. Resistance up to 2 mega ohm. Continuity and diode. High current up to 10 amps. DC only. Battery tester from 1.5 to 9 volts. Volts AC up to 600 volts. We have a couple of toggle switches at the top. We have the standard hold, nothing fancy. Touch and away you go. Followed by the backlight button. At the bottom on the far left, we have the 10 amp input for the DC. In the middle, our common or ground. And finally on the right, our standard volt resistance milliamps, continuity, and diode. Of course, depending on the angle, it will fade a little bit, but generally speaking, nice display. Take note, the rotary selector switch on this little guy is really, really nice. Has a really nice tactile feel. Yeah, it is a little bit small, perhaps, but you know, it is a small meter. You can tell with that nice solid clackety-clack, it does not get stuck between ranges, and overall, really nice tactile feel. I like it. Now, when it comes to resistance, yeah, it's a yawner. Excuse me, that was rather rude. But not as rude as giving us a multimeter that only does 2 mega ohm. Come on, 2020, we got to do better than that. Diode mode is next. We're going to start off with a standard diode. See if we can get that forward voltage. I don't foresee a problem. And yeah, there we go. Now let's take a look at LEDs. See if we can light them all up. That would be kind of cool. Turn on the backlight so you can see a little better. Here we go, starting off with the green LED. And it is barely lit, and we do have that forward voltage drop. Over to the yellow once again. Wow, barely lit, and we do have the forward voltage drop. The red, yep, it's lit. The blue, oh, ever so barely. No, I thought it was lit, but it's not lit. Too bad. And the white, nope. So, well, hey, 3 for 5, but 2.4 volts, the output voltage in diode mode. Next up, continuity. Yes, my favorite time. Here we go. Stock probes, 3, 2, 1. Oh, slow. Latched, but slow. And kind of low. Not too good. Probe masters, here we go. 3, 2, 1. Oh gosh, absolutely no difference whatsoever. Slow. Continuity is a fail. (64.2 dBA), the maximum output volume in continuity mode. It's a bird, it's a plane. No, it's a magnetized ELECALL stuck to a light. The ELECALL also has that battery testing function, and what it does, it puts a resistance load on the battery. Built-in load resistance for 9 volt is 1.8K, and for a 1.5 volt, 30 ohm. So I've got a 1.5 volt battery here. Let's test it first with the battery test functionality. Let's see what we've got for a reading. Okay, testing it with that battery tester, we have got 1.53 volts coming up. 1.55 volts. Now, 1.55 is what it said. Now, if we switch it over, now we're in standard DC volts mode. Let's see if there's any difference from that 1.55 reading. And yeah, 1.6 volts. So, cool. Check a lot of batteries can come in handy. At least gives you an indication if your battery is on the way out. Quick high current test. We're sitting at 1 amp right now, and not a worry. Let's bring it up here. And we're going to go up to 1.99 amps, 2 amps even, and yeah, even Steven looking good. Take it up to 4 amps. 4 amps, there we go. No worries here. And I'm going to max it out now at 5 amps, and yeah, it can handle that high current okay for short periods of time. Looking at milliamps now, sitting at 190 milliamps. No worries there. Now we do have that 200 milliamp threshold, and yeah, we are over limit, so bring it back down. So, not much room to work with in the milliamp range, but at least it works. Finally, we're going to try some high voltage. Take it up just under 600 volts, and we'll see if there's any issues whatsoever, maybe an audible alarm. Here we go, 3, 2, 1. $593 volts, 594, 95, and 96, 97. And yeah, it's just not letting me. I'm just over 600 according to the power supply. And oh, there we are, 5999, 600. No audible alarm, what have you. Yeah, but it is handling that voltage without any worries. There you go. So, no high voltage alarm or beep, but it didn't blow up. Hey, this really goes good with that matte background, doesn't it? Looking good. Okay, let's take this puppy apart. Here we go. Ugh. Well, that rubber holster was really hard to get off. Took some trying, but yeah, eventually we did it. So let's keep on moving now. Okay, so that one Phillips screw gives us access to the back of the unit for the battery install. And once we're in the back of the unit, you can see that one Phillips screw, which is, by the way, threaded insert. Very nice. Yeah, no fuse access, but one screw to change the batteries. Okay, we've got now 1, 2, 3, 4 more screws to get into this little sucker. Okay, well, that was a little bit of a process once again, but yeah, we're finally in. Let's take a closer look. Looking at those input jacks, they're of the split variety, but they are actually a thicker gauge than you normally see in a cheapo meter. I like it. Yeah, and they're obviously being retained by the back of the chassis as well, so no worries there. Moving up the line, we see a current sensing resistor over here that is replacing our standard current shunt. Not a whole lot in the way of input protection. On the milliamp side, we do have this one diode over here. And for the voltage, this one rather paltry looking PTC. That's it. That's all. Finally, we have the fab date, March 8th, 2019. Over at the top of the display, you can see they've used some glue actually to keep it in place. Hey, I like it. That's a good idea. Attention to detail, it's the little things that matter most, and a lot of times you see these cheapo meters and these LCD displays are just flopping in the wind, so hey, nice attention to detail. At the top of the board, we've got our main IC here, which is cobbed, and right beside it over here we have our transducer slash speaker, giving us that horrible continuity. Unfortunately, over here we have a testing relay input for the manufacturer when they're sending these things out. That is rather it. This is a sparse meter, guys. No NCV, no flashlight, backlight, what have you. No, bare bones. All right, gonna put everything back together. Come back with my closing thoughts. Closing thoughts on the ELECALL EMAX3. Hey, I like the name, kind of cool. Well, what can I say? It's not a bad multimeter, certainly not the greatest, nor is it the most exciting. For a meter like this, it needs a resettable style poly fuse. Forget the glass fuses. It's a pain in the butt to open up, and honestly, some newbie comes along, tries to check milliamps, first thing they're gonna have to do is change the fuse. Come on guys, ELECALL and others, if you're listening for these cheapo meters, give us those resettable poly fuses. They're great. Why isn't there a tilt stand? I don't understand multimeters these days that don't ship with stands. We need one, we want one, please give it to us. Yeah, it's nice to have that magnet feature in the back, but at the end of the day, a tilt stand is just so much more useful. Fit and finish wise, this is a really well built little meter. It's tiny, it's good looking, and I like what they did with the color scheme. Even the ergonomics, not your standard looking meter, but it works and it works well. LCD display as well is nice and clear, good choice of font, and the backlight, even though it doesn't stay on all the time, it still looks good. Too bad about that continuity, it just sucked. Yeah, it was just too slow. I'm sorry, it sucked. What can I say? Too slow, too low, and at the end of the day, kind of useless. Hey, this is a cheapo meter. We're talking like 11 bucks Canadian, around 8 bucks or so US. Yeah, definitely not gonna break the bank with this one. That being said, it's just too many things that could have been improved, and it would have made a world of difference. The ELECALL EMAX3 gets 2.5 out of 5 stars. Thanks for watching this review, everybody. Love all the comments, feedback. Keep them coming. More great reviews coming up. Till the next one, keep on testing.